I'm 73 years old and my son hasn't spoken to me in 11 years. Not a phone call, not even a birthday card. And the worst part? It's entirely my fault.
Some of you might think you know what I did. Maybe I was abusive. Maybe I cheated on his mother. Maybe I abandoned him. But the truth is so much worse than that. Because what I did was something most fathers do every single day. And they don't even realize they're destroying their children in the process. My name is Robert Chen. I'm sitting in my living room right now, alone, like I am every single day. And I'm about to tell you exactly what I did that made my son decide I wasn't worth having in his life anymore. I'm telling you this because maybe, just maybe, if you have children, you'll recognize yourself in my story. And maybe you'll change before it's too late. My son's name is Daniel. He's 42 years old now. Married. 2 kids I've never met. A life I know nothing about except what I can piece together from the few mutual acquaintances we still have. And the last words he ever said to me, standing in my driveway 11 years ago, were these: "You were never really there, Dad, and I'm done pretending that's okay." Then he got in his car and drove away. That was June 2014. I haven't heard his voice since. Let me take you back. Daniel was born in 1983. I was 32, working my way up at an investment firm in Boston. His mother, Jennifer, stayed home with him for the first few years. We had a nice house in the suburbs, good schools, safe neighborhood, everything a kid could want, right? Wrong. See, I thought being a good father meant providing, making sure the bills were paid, making sure Daniel had clothes, food, opportunities. I worked 60, sometimes 70 hours a week. I missed his first steps because I was closing a deal. I missed his first words because I was in a conference call. But I told myself it was worth it. I was building security for my family. When Daniel was 7, he started playing Little League. He loved baseball, lived for it. And you know how many games I went to that first season? 3 out of 24 games. I made it to 3. And at those 3 games, I was on my phone half the time, checking emails, returning calls. I remember one game specifically. Daniel hit his first home run. I was sitting in the bleachers, and just as he made contact with the ball, my phone rang. It was a client, a big account, and I took the call. I watched Daniel round the bases while I was discussing quarterly projections. When he came off the field, looking for me in the stands, I was facing the other direction, pacing, talking business. After the game, he asked me, "Dad, did you see my home run?" And I said, "Of course, buddy, great job." But he knew, even at 7 years old, he knew I hadn't really been there. That became the pattern. I showed up just enough to technically be present, but I was never actually there. School plays, I'd arrive late and leave early. Parent-teacher conferences, I'd send Jennifer alone or join by phone. Family dinners, I'd eat quickly, distracted, then retreat to my home office. When Daniel was 12, he made the middle school basketball team. He was so excited. He came home that day and said, "Dad, will you practice with me in the driveway?" And I said, "Not tonight, son. I've got work to finish. Maybe this weekend." That weekend never came. It never does it? By the time Daniel was in high school, something had shifted between us. He stopped asking me to come to his games, stopped telling me about his day, stopped trying to connect with me. And I told myself that was just normal teenage behavior. Kids grow up. They become independent. That's healthy, right? But it wasn't independence. It was resignation. He'd given up on me. His senior year. He was accepted to 3 universities. Good schools. He was deciding between them, trying to figure out what he wanted to study. One night at dinner, He said, "Dad, can we talk about college? I could really use your advice." And I said, "Sure, son. Let's set up a time this week. I'm slammed right now with this merger. We never set up that time. He chose a school without me, packed for college without me, and when I dropped him off at his dorm, we shook hands. We shook hands like business associates, not like father and son. During college, he'd come home for holidays, but the distance between us was palpable. Conversations were surface level. How's school? Fine. Need anything? No. I'm good. Then he'd spend most of his time with his mother or his friends. I told myself we'd reconnect after he graduated, when life settled down, when I wasn't so busy. After college, Daniel moved to Seattle for a job, 3,000 miles away. We'd talk maybe once a month, 5-minute phone calls, polite, distant, and I thought that was normal. Adult children move away. They build their own lives. Then he met Sarah. They dated for 2 years before he proposed. And you know how I found out he was engaged? From a Christmas card. Not a phone call, a card. I flew out for the wedding, sat in the second row, watched my son marry a woman I'd met exactly twice. During his speech at the reception, he thanked his mother. He thanked his friends. He thanked Sarah's parents. He didn't mention me once, and I sat there, in my expensive suit, wondering how this had happened. How had I become such a footnote in my own son's life? But I still didn't get it. I still thought maybe we just weren't that close, and that was okay. Some fathers and sons are like that. Not everyone has a TV sitcom relationship. Then, in 2013, Daniel's first child was born. A daughter, my granddaughter. Her name is Emma. I found out she was born from a text message. Baby arrived healthy. Mom and baby doing well. I flew to Seattle a week later. Knocked on their door with flowers and a teddy bear. Sarah answered. She was polite, but cold. She let me in. I held Emma for maybe 10 minutes. Daniel barely looked at me. We made uncomfortable small talk. Then I left. I thought maybe with the baby, things would change. I thought grandparenthood would give us a new connection. So I started calling more, asking about Emma, offering to visit, and Daniel was always polite, always cordial, but also always distant. Now's not a good time. Maybe next month. We're pretty busy with the baby. 6 months went by. I'd seen Emma once, for 10 minutes. That's when I decided to fly out unannounced. I thought if I just showed up, we could have a real conversation. Force the issue, clear the air. I rented a car at the airport, drove to their house. It was a Saturday afternoon. I knocked on the door. Daniel answered, holding Emma, and the look on his face when he saw me. It wasn't happiness. It was exhaustion. Dad, what are you doing here? I came to see you, to see my granddaughter, to spend some time together. He sighed. Actually sighed, like I was an inconvenience. You can't just show up like this. We have plans. I'm your father, Daniel. I shouldn't need an appointment. And that's when he said it. That's when the dam broke. You've needed an appointment my entire life. Dad, every single moment I ever wanted with you required scheduling. And even then, you usually cancelled. So yes, now you need an appointment. We stood there in his doorway. Emma started fussing. Sarah came to the door, took the baby, gave Daniel a look, and went back inside. Can I come in? I asked. No. Dad, not today. When? Then. I don't know. Daniel, I'm trying here. I flew 3,000 miles to see you. And he laughed. Not a happy laugh, a bitter one. You flew 3,000 miles. Congratulations. Do you want a medal? I spent 18 years under the same roof as you. And you couldn't be bothered to spend an hour really talking to me. That's not fair. I provided for you. I gave you everything. You gave me everything except yourself. Those words hit me like a physical blow. But I was defensive, angry. I worked hard so you could have a good life. I didn't need a good life. Dad, I needed a father. I needed you at my baseball games, at my school plays, at my graduation, not physically there, actually there, present, engaged, caring about my life. Not just funding it. I did my best. No, you didn't. You did the minimum. You showed up just enough to avoid being called a deadbeat. But you were never really my dad. You were a guy who paid the bills and lived in the same house. I was angry now. You have no idea how hard I worked. The sacrifices I made, sacrifices. You sacrificed me. Dad, you sacrificed our relationship for your career, for your ego, for everything that mattered more to you than I did. And now you show up, 42 years later, wanting to be grandpa, wanting to have some relationship with Emma. Based on what? Based on showing up when it's convenient for you? That's not fair. Daniel, you want to know what's not fair? I'll tell you, it's not fair that I spend my childhood trying to earn your attention, getting good grades, making the team, winning awards, all hoping that maybe this time you'd actually care. It's not fair that I gave speech after speech in school about my hero, and I'd make up stories about you because the truth was too pathetic to say out loud. It's not fair that when I graduated high school, valedictorian, and I looked out at the audience during my speech, you were on your phone. At my wedding, you checked your email during the ceremony. I saw you. It's not fair that I have spent 42 years feeling like I wasn't enough to deserve my own father's time. I didn't know what to say. I stood there, speechless. I have a daughter now, Dad, and when I hold her, I promise myself every single day that I will never make her feel the way you made me feel. I will never be too busy. I will never prioritize work over her. I will never make her beg for my attention. And honestly, I don't want you around her because I don't want her to see what you modeled from me. I don't want her to think that's what love looks like. Daniel, please, I'm done. Dad, I've spent my entire life trying to have a relationship with you. And I'm tired. I'm tired of being disappointed. I'm tired of hoping you'll change. I'm tired of pretending this is okay. So I'm done. You can't just cut me out of your life. Watch me. He closed the door. I stood there for a long time. Then I drove back to the airport, flew home, and I waited. Surely he'd cool off. Surely he'd call. He never did. That was 11 years ago. I've sent letters, emails, texts, birthday cards, Christmas presents, or returned or ignored. I've tried reaching out through his mother, but she won't get involved. I've thought about flying back up there, but I know it wouldn't help, because Daniel was right about all of it. I was never really there. I prioritized everything else over him. I took him for granted. And by the time I realized what I'd lost, it was too late. I'm 73 years old now, retired. All that time I said I didn't have. I have plenty of it now. And I spend it alone. Because the career I chose over my son, it's over. The deals I closed instead of going to his games. Forgotten. The promotions I worked late for instead of having dinner with my family. Meaningless. But Daniel, the relationship I could have had with him, that's forever lost. If you're a parent, especially a father, and you're reading this, I need you to hear me. Your kids don't need your money. They need your time. They need your presence. They need you to care about their lives. Not just fund them. That work email can wait. That conference call can be rescheduled. That promotion you're chasing will still be there. But your child's game, their play, their graduation, their childhood, those only happen once. And if you miss them, if you choose work over them enough times, One day they'll stop asking. One day they'll stop caring. And one day, if you're unlucky like me, they'll cut you out entirely. And you'll deserve it. I deserve this. I know that. Daniel gave me 42 years of chances, and I wasted every single one. I don't blame him for walking away. I blame myself for never showing up in the first place. I'll probably die without ever speaking to him again, without ever meeting my grandchildren, without ever getting the chance to say I'm sorry in person, to hear his voice, to have one real conversation. That's my punishment, and it's the right one. Don't let this be your story. Don't wait until it's too late. Don't assume you have time. Put down your phone. Leave work early. Show up. Be present. Actually care. Because one day, the door will close, and it won't open again.